Hello children, so in this video I will be discussing about the concept of atomic mass and molecular mass. Now when we talk in terms of chemistry, mass and weight can be taken as interchangeable term. That means atomic weight and the weight of molecules. Now we know that atoms are extremely small particles. So when a particle is extremely small, so obviously its mass or weight will also be extremely small. So, if you actually measure, there are ways of measuring. If you actually measure the mass of an atom, it comes to some value will be there. Let's take the value to be x. It can be 5, 6, 10, whatever. So, that x into 10 to the power minus 23 gram. So, you look at the dimension 10 to the power minus 23 gram means it can be written as x divided by 10 to the power 23 gram. That means if you expand it and write, so x divided by 1 followed by 23 zeros will be there. So you imagine 1 gram of any substance, 1 gram of any substance, you are dividing it into so many parts, out of that just x part. So if I give you, generally we measure mass with a beam balance. So if I even give you the finest of any beam balance, you will not be able to measure the mass of an atom. Now, if we convert it into kg, which is the SI unit, then the things are going to be even more smaller. So it will become x into 10 to the power minus 26 kg. So now when we will try to do any kind of calculation with the help of this number, so this particular part, that is 10 to the power minus 26, this is likely to cause problem for us. So our objective is that if we can convert this number, this x into 10 to the power 26 into just x, then our calculations will become much more simpler. So how can we do that? We can place under x into 10 to the power 26, we can place 10 to the power minus 26. So 10 to the power minus 26 and 10 to the power minus 26 gets cancelled out. Now in front of this 10 to the power minus 26, if we place 1, then also the thing remains same, because any number divided by 1 remains the same number. Any number multiplied by 1 remains the same number. So why we are putting this 1 here? So that we can give a proper name to it. So 10 to the power minus 26, 10 to the power minus 26 gets cancelled out and x divided by 1 remains x. Now this 1 into 10 to the power minus 26, this is actually mass of one hydrogen atom. But so initially the scientists, they considered this to be a standard. So we are comparing the mass of an atom with a standard to simplify that number. Now why hydrogen was selected? Because its mass is 1 into 10 to the power minus 26. But when further researches were done, it was found that taking hydrogen as a standard was not justified. Why it was not justified? Because in nature we find 3 isotopic forms of hydrogen. Now what are isotopes? Isotopes are different forms of the same element or different atoms of the same element which have the same atomic number but different mass number. So like hydrogen, the first isotopic form, its mass is 1, second its mass is 2, and third its mass is 3. So if we take the average mass of all these isotopes, its mass is not exactly 1 as we have taken the standard. Its mass is 1 point something into 10 to the power minus 26. So any number, if you are dividing it with 1 point something, then you are not getting x, you are getting something else. So it was scientifically not correct to express the mass of any atom with the help of hydrogen atom. So this idea was rejected. So next, in the next system, it was given by IUPAC. Now all in chemistry, all kind of naming and rules are set by IUPAC. What is IUPAC? International Union for Pure and Applied Chemistry. So that's the body of all the scientists related with chemistry. Whatever rules they set, we follow those. So according to the latest rule, we take carbon as a standard. Now why carbon is taken as a standard? Carbon's mass is around 12. Okay, so suppose there is a carbon atom. Now suppose there's just like here we take this example, x into 10 to the power minus 26. Now this x into 10 to the power minus 26, if you are suppose dividing with carbon is 12 into 10 to the power minus 26, so x divided by 12, you will not get x as the answer, but our objective is that our answer should be x. So what we do, suppose we have taken one carbon atom and we divide this carbon atom into 12 equal parts, and we have taken one part out of that. So we can write this here as 1 by 12 part the mass of a carbon 12 atom. So 12 and 12 will cancel out and this value will become 1. So x divided by 1 will be x. Now what is the reason that the scientists have taken carbon? Because even carbon has two isotopes. One of the isotopes mass is 12 and another one is 14. But in nature, most of the carbon is found in 12 carbon form. And if you take the average mass of both the isotopes, the number is almost 12. So if we take 1 by 12 part of that almost 12 number, it comes to be around 1. So we can easily compare and write it, the atomic mass. So this particular standard, which is the 1 by 12 part of carbon 12 atom, it is called the atomic mass unit. So how can we define atomic mass unit? Atomic mass unit is defined as 1 by 12 part the mass of a carbon 12 atom. Okay, it is called the atomic mass unit, which is also written as U. Because you see why we are using this term U here, because this is also kg, this is also kg. So when we are comparing, it's basically it becomes a ratio. So no unit, but actually we are trying to describe mass, and mass is something which you cannot write without any unit. There has to be a unit there. So we cannot take kg, so we are taking that atomic mass unit. Now so how can we say, for example, suppose there is a carbon atom. This is a carbon atom and it is having 12 parts. Let's say this whole thing is a carbon atom. Now if I take out one part out of this, so what does it become? It becomes 1 by 12 part the mass of a carbon 12 atom. Then this is taken as the standard for comparison, for finding out or describing atomic mass of other atoms. Now, so I keep this here. Now suppose we know that the atomic mass of oxygen is 16. Suppose this is the block. So there are 16 parts here. So that means what? Suppose we consider this as the whole, one atom of oxygen. That means its mass is 16, means this atom of oxygen is 16 times heavier compared to this unit or this standard. So suppose I gave you this example of your beam balance. So suppose on one side, suppose you are measuring vegetables. So what we do, we keep unknown vegetables on one side and a known mass on another side. So same way, suppose on one side I keep one oxygen atom and on another side I have this standard. So I keep this standard. So like this I have to place 16 standard and then the beam balance will get balanced out. So then we can say that yes, oxygen atom is 16 times heavier compared to the 1 by 12 part of a carbon 12 atom. So that is how we explain or give the definition of your atomic mass. So when we say mass of one oxygen atom, it is 16 U. 16 U means that one oxygen atom is 16 times heavier compared to 1 by 12 part the mass of a carbon 12 atom or atomic mass unit. Similarly, if we say mass of one sodium atom is 23 U, then what does it mean? That one sodium atom is 23 times heavier compared to our standard. So from here we can define atomic mass and molecular mass in the following way. Atomic mass, so since we are comparing the atomic mass with a standard, we are relating it, therefore it is also regarded or known as relative atomic mass. So whenever someone tells you about atomic mass, you should know that they are talking about relative atomic mass. So atomic mass or relative atomic mass can be defined as the number of times an atom is heavier compared to what? Compared to 1 by 12 part the mass of a carbon 12 atom. And instead of writing 1 by 12 part the mass of a carbon 12 atom, you can also write heavier compared to atomic mass unit. Now we come to the molecular mass. Suppose there is one molecule, water is a compound, H2O, it is a molecule of water, and O2 is also a molecule, it is a molecule of oxygen element. So this is molecule of element, this is molecule of compound. Suppose oxygen, there are two atoms of oxygen, so it will be 16 plus 16, that is 32U, which means what? The molecule of oxygen gas is 32 times heavier compared to atomic mass unit, or compared to 1 by 12 part the mass of a carbon 12 atom. Now why we are considering molecules also with this standard? Because just like atoms are very small, their masses are very small, represented by a complex number, same way when atoms will come together to form molecules, molecules will also be very small. So we can describe them like this. So molecular mass or relative molecular mass can be defined as the number of times a molecule is heavier compared to 1 by 12 part the mass of a carbon 12 atom. Or instead of writing this, we can say that heavier compared to atomic mass unit. So in this video we have learned about the definition of atomic mass unit, which is the unit used to describe masses. We have learned about atomic mass, and we have learned about relative molecular mass. So what is the purpose of using or comparing the mass with this atomic mass unit? Why do we compare the mass of any atom or any molecule with this particular standard? So as to make the numbers simpler, the actual mass simpler, the number which will represent the actual mass, to make that simpler and easy for calculation. Secondly, to give us a fair idea as to how heavy an atom or a molecule is compared to a standard value. So that is the purpose of this comparison. So I hope the concept is clear to you. If you like the video, do subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon for further notifications. Thank you so much.